On my wedding day, my husband's childhood sweetheart came back. She slipped her arm through my husband's, slept in my marital bed, and still smiled while calling me her maid. Today is my big day with Chase. We were standing outside the Grand's main doors, greeting the guests, and just as we finished the photos and were about to walk up the aisle, Chase's already married little green plum Sophia rushed in alone. She wore a scarlet cocktail dress, simple, nothing technically wrong with it. But the instant she arrived, she glued herself to Chase and cooed, "Chase, you're really getting married. Am I still the little princess in your heart? You have to say I'm your only princess, or I won't let you go inside." When Chase and I were dating, I knew he had a childhood friend named Sophia. The two had grown up together and were very close. Later, Sophia married and moved away, and they lost touch. Today, at my wedding, I'd figured she might show and I'd steeled myself. Still, her words stung. This was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, so I swallowed my anger and forced a smile. "Sophia, don't make a scene. The officiant has rushed us 3 times. After the ceremony you two can catch up, okay?" Sophia not only ignored me, she rolled her eyes. "I'm talking to Chase. What are you interrupting for? You haven't married in yet, you're still an outsider. What right do you have to butt into our business? Chase and I have years of history, it's not your place to tell us what to do." I hated hearing that, but I couldn't very well quarrel at the door. I simply bottled it up and tugged Chase's sleeve, hoping he'd say something. He seemed to sense my irritation and frowned at her. "Sophia, how can you speak to Vivian like that?" Instantly Sophia's face fell. She practically draped herself over his neck. "You're scolding me for an outsider? I won't let you pass unless you step over me. Talk about bad luck." I shot Chase a look telling him to shake her off and get on the stage. The officiant had already urged us twice. Instead of shaking her off, he slipped an arm under her thighs and lifted her up, doting. Okay, my fault. Be careful, if you fall you'll cry again." Beaming, Sophia stuck her tongue out at me, as if flaunting her victory. I rolled my eyes inwardly. Disgusting woman. Seeing us still blocking the entrance, the officiant finally came to fetch us. She spotted Sophia dangling from Chase, yanked her off, and blocked her from getting close again while waving us forward. "Guest, please step aside. The couple need to exchange rings, family and friends have waited long enough." I silently applauded the officiant, then quickly took Chase's arm and walked up the aisle to accept everyone's blessings. Once we were in place, the officiant hurried back up to continue. According to schedule, after her short speech we would exchange wedding bands, then start the toast rounds table by table. But just as the officiant finished, the double doors burst open and several waiters wheeled in carts loaded with food. We were stunned, even the officiant looked blank. From the stage I spotted Sophia in the corner, arching her brow at me with a smug smile. No need to guess, this had her fingerprints all over it. The officiant, used to grand spectacles, regrouped fast. She murmured that we skip the remaining bits, swap rings, and move straight to toasting. She pulled the velvet box from her pocket, ready to speed things along. Before I could take the groom's band, however, commotion rippled through the guests. I turned to see Sophia moving from table to table with a wineglass, toasting people. After 3 tables she lifted her face to the stage and called, "Chase, what are you standing there for? Come help me toast the guests." Chase snapped out of it, shook off my restraining hand, and went down to join her. I watched them laugh together, my expression blank. I couldn't even fake a smile. The officiant, probably witnessing this for the first time, gave me an awkward smile, at a loss for comforting words. So we stood there on the stage like statues, staring at the farce below. Some guests sensed something off and kept glancing our way. I kept my head down, eyes fixed on my wedding gown, blocking out their gaze. At last Chase returned. The officiant stepped over, velvet box in hand, and whispered, "Groom, you still haven't exchanged the rings." She didn't finish. Sophia snatched the box, feigning innocence. "So these are the rings, let me see." She flicked it open. Of course it was the groom's band she lifted out. "Come here," she chirped at Chase. "Let me check, the size looks wrong for you." Chase frowned. I tried it on, it can't be wrong. I added, the rings are custom, there's no mistake. Sophia acted as though I'd said nothing. She took Chase's hand and slid the band onto his ring finger. Then she popped out the bride's band and pressed it into his palm. I've done yours, now you do mine. She wiggled her fingers under his nose. I stared at Chase, saying nothing. We'd stayed up nights poring over designs. The inside of each band was engraved with our initials. I refused to believe he didn't know what that ring meant. I told myself, if he refuses her, I'll forgive him for the toasting circus. If he refuses, there's still hope. I clenched my teeth, eyes locked on him, praying he'd do the right thing. Even the officiant, sensing the tension, stood mute. Yet under our combined stare, Chase noticed nothing. He simply smiled, took the bride's band from Sophia, and slipped it onto her ring finger. At that instant my heart turned to ash. I asked myself, is a lifetime with this man really worth it? Sophia hadn't expected it either. Delight sparked across her face as she flashed the ring at me, half covering her mouth. Sorry, Vivian, I wore it for you. Chase, honestly, you actually did it. Poor Vivian's going to cry. She pulled the ring off and shoved it back into my hand, then looped her arm through Chase's. Your ring you can put on yourself. I already helped with his. Taking it off would be bad luck. Chase nodded. Right, old folks say once the wedding band goes on it never comes off. I'll keep mine, you handle yours. I tightened my grip on the ring and gave a cold laugh. So you think I should put this on myself? Chase opened his mouth, but Sophia cut in. It's just slipping on a ring, you've got hands. Do it yourself. You should thank me, I wasn't too tired to toast every table for you, and I even put Chase's band on him. You got married just standing there, what more do you want? Chase, I'm right, aren't I? Wasn't I amazing today? Chase didn't reply either, he only nodded absently. I was already 2 seconds from flipping the table. I'm the one who's Chase's wife, yet he's letting some childhood sweetheart turn my wedding into a three-ring circus. I was about to explode when the officiant stepped in to smooth things over. The guests are almost finished eating, the bride and groom should go to the door to see them off. This time Sophia didn't argue, she just drifted to the side by herself. Chase looked anxious now. He slipped his arm through mine and muttered, "Come on, let's go. Don't make a scene in front of family and friends." A hard lump of anger stuck in my throat. A minute ago the two of you were doing toast rounds and swapping rings without worrying about making a scene, and now you're lecturing me about manners? If guests hadn't started filing out to say goodbye, I would have dragged Chase aside and cursed him until he drowned in it. When the last guest finally left, I exhaled and started back inside. Sophia had vanished, nowhere in sight. Now Chase was suddenly worried about me. Smiling, he caught my hand and tried to coax me back to our bridal suite for the wedding night. My heart softened for a second and I got into the car with him. The instant I stepped through the door I knew something was off. Our place looked as if a storm had torn through it. I figured we'd tidy up together, but the second he walked in he groaned that he was exhausted and headed straight for a shower in bed. I had no choice. I slipped out of my wedding gown, put on loungewear, and cleaned the living room myself. After I finished and took my own shower, I found the bedroom already dark. Chase sprawled on the king-size bed. I wondered why he was turning in so early, pulled back the duvet and started to climb in. My foot brushed something soft and warm. I yelped and jumped back. "What is that?" Chase grumbled upright and flicked on the light. "Cut the noise, will you? Some of us are trying to sleep." In the glare I saw Sophia lying in my spot, red silk pajamas on, hair loose over the pillow like she owned it. She rubbed her eyes, fake drowsy. "What's wrong? What happened?" I jabbed a finger at her. "Why are you in here? This is our bridal suite, our marital bed. Why is Sophia camped on it?" She blinked innocently and cuddled against Chase's shoulder. "It's so late and I don't have a room. I had to crash here. Lucky Chase feels sorry for me, otherwise I'd be wandering the streets." "Don't be upset, Vivian. Chase is only being kind. We shared a bed as kids, it's no big deal. If we'd wanted something to happen, you'd never have been in the picture. I'm just lying here for the night, so don't get all dramatic. I stared at her with zero expression. All day this woman has stamped across every landmine I have. I drew one slow breath and gave her a last warning. Listen. This is the apartment Chase and I picked as our bridal suite, and tonight is our wedding night. If you had any decency, you'd get out right now. Hotel, friend's couch, I don't care. What you don't do is sit on my marital bed wrapped around my husband pretending to sip tea while telling me not to mind. Something in that speech flipped Sophia's switch. She catapulted upright, fingers stabbing at me. Think marrying Chase makes you a Rowan? Think you can boss me around? You're the outsider, the servant they paid to wait on him. The second he tires of you, you're gone. Your marital bed, please. I chose this mattress for Chase, I paid for it, I made it. You didn't chip in money or muscle, so who are you to sleep here? What gives you the right? I gaped at Chase. When we'd shopped for furniture, I'd shown him a few bed options, but he insisted he'd handle the marital bed as a surprise for me. Surprise delivered, and it's disgusting. I faced him. Anything to say? Both women are fighting over him, his word settles it. Before he could speak, Sophia cut in. What's to discuss? Chase and I grew up side by side, we've always shared a bed. This one was custom made for us, and tonight we're sleeping together. You can take the sofa. Chase already agreed we'd spend the night together reliving old memories, right, Chase? Chase opened his mouth, Sophia tugged his sleeve. He shrank, mumbling, why yeah. I kept my eyes on him, refusing to accept it. Chase, this is our wedding day, our wedding night, and you honestly expect me to sleep on the living room sofa? He looked at me, then at Sophia, body locking up. He averted his gaze and played dead. Sophia preened, jabbing at the door. See? Marianne, you're still an outsider. I'm the princess Chase will always protect, I matter more than you. Stop gawking and get lost. Chase has had a long day, he needs his rest. Chase stayed silent. Disappointment hollowed me out. So this is the man I married. If I didn't know Sophia already had a husband, I'd swear they were having an affair. As things stand, I'm the legal wife, yet he lets an outsider trample me. At that moment my heart flatlined, I quit struggling. I gave the pair on the bed a cold smile. Fine. I can walk out. But hear this, once I leave this room tonight, you can beg on your knees tomorrow and I won't come back. I'm gone, and first thing in the morning we file for divorce at City Hall. So, Chase, last chance. Who exactly is leaving? Panic flashed across Chase's face. He tried to scramble off the bed, but Sophia yanked him back. He squirmed, voice soft and coaxing. Xiao Yao, maybe don't make Vivian leave. It's her wedding night, she can't sleep outside. The bed's huge, 3 of us can squeeze. I'll lie between you two. Just picturing it made bile surge up my throat, I dry heaved. What kind of creature did I marry that he can suggest something so vile? The second Chase noticed me gag, his eyes lit up. He shook Sophia off and hurried toward me, gently clasping my arm, grinning ear to ear. Vivian, are you pregnant? My mom says nausea equals baby on board. Why didn't you tell me? I never would have asked you to sleep outside. I didn't want him touching me. I pulled free, brows knit. I'm not pregnant. My period ended a few days ago, impossible. Chase refused to believe me, he was sure I was hiding it. He stepped closer, scolding under his breath, careless, aren't you? If anything happens to my little heir, I'll never forgive you. Get on the bed and lie down. You've had a long day, rest up. You can't tire my precious boy. That baby you're carrying is the Rowan's first golden grandson. Guard that belly like it's Fort Knox. Even if you exhaust yourself, my boy stays safe. The second he finished, Chase yanked me toward the bed. We'd barely taken 2 steps when Sophia, still perched on the mattress, shrieked. No! I won't let her in my bed. It's mine. Who said she could set foot on it? It's just a pregnancy. Chase, listen up, I'm pregnant too, and this baby is yours. My feet froze. I stared at Sophia, stunned. Did she even hear what she just said? How dare she spit out something like that? I wasn't the only one frozen. Chase gaped at her. What baby? What's it got to do with me? Don't you have a husband? Not many guys dream of instant fatherhood, and Chase was no exception. Sophia's face went coy in a heartbeat. She twisted a strand of hair. Chase, don't you remember? That night we went for late-night bites, got drunk, and crashed together. Chase didn't even blink, he fired the question right in front of me. You mean last month when I was on that business trip and ran into you? We were both wasted, how would we remember anything? Panic flared in Sophia's eyes. You might have blacked out, but I didn't. We bumped into each other, went for drinks and snacks, and woke up in the same bed. This baby was conceived that night, I'm positive it's yours, not my deadbeat husband's. Something in Chase's face shifted toward belief. He beamed at her. Really? Then I'm about to be daddy to 2 boys, how lucky can a guy get? Everyone will say I'm blessed. Come on, Sophia, you take the right side, Vivian the left. I'll lie between you, arms around both my heroines of the Rowan family. He reached for me again. I'd had enough. I swung my arm and slapped him across the face with everything I had. Disgusting pair, absolutely vile. The slap left Chase blank. Sophia recovered first, screeching and lunging to grab my hair. Bitch! How dare you hit Chase? He's your master, you little servant. Die, just die. She yanked hard. I retaliated, fisting her hair with both hands and stomping on her feet. She sobbed, cursed, wailed. I tuned it out. No way I'd let go until she did. Chase only shouted for us to stop. He never stepped in. We spun across the room, hair tangled, until the small of her back slammed into the corner of a side table. She shrieked, released my hair, and cradled her belly, half collapsing. Chase, my stomach, it hurts. Help me, he panicked, the coward. Dropping to his knees in front of me, he babbled, Vivian, wife, I swear I didn't betray you. Forgive me, it's all her fault, she threw herself at me. Sophia, still clutching her midriff, snarled through the pain. Liar! He ignored her and kept pleading. Honestly, Vivian, she stirred everything up. I was weak for a second, please, just this once. If the cramp hadn't floored her, I swear Sophia would have sprung up swinging. My scalp throbbed, but my mind was crystal clear. I pointed at the writhing Sophia. Get her to the hospital, now. I've never given birth, but every soap opera lesson says a bump like that plus belly pain equals one thing, pregnancy. Groaning, Sophia couldn't speak, cold sweat dotted her forehead. Anyone with a brain could see an emergency, yet Chase stayed on his knees, begging. She can wait, wife. Say you forgive me. I won't stand up until you do. Vivian, I love you, I lost my head. Just once, forgive me. I tried dragging him up. He was dead weight, rooted to the rug. On one side, Sophia on the floor, on the other, Chase kneeling, my head throbbed. I inhaled, kicked him aside, then knelt to check Sophia. Seeing her pale and drenched in sweat, I dialed 911, reported a possible miscarriage threat, and requested an ambulance. When Chase realized what I'd done, he looked thunderstruck. He lunged, knocking my phone away. What the hell? Mind your own business, you meddling bitch. You hate her, you two just fought, so let her suffer. You made that call, you carry the fallout. Don't drag me into it. If you dare breathe a word blaming me, I'll beat the crap out of you. He raised a clenched fist to drive the threat home. I stared, feeling as if I were meeting Chase for the very first time. Back when we dated, he'd been gentle, considerate, even when I messed up. He never lost his temper. This man and that memory didn't align. Disappointment washed through me, along with relief that I'd seen his real face in time. My gaze turned to ice. I met his eyes like he was a stranger. Relax, if anyone asks, I'll tell the exact truth. But hear me, once this is over, we're divorced. Chase averted his gaze and said nothing. I didn't care whether he agreed, my mind was made. While calming Sophia, I kept glancing for sirens. The ambulance arrived quickly. After a fast check, the paramedics lifted her onto a stretcher and wheeled her toward the vehicle. I planned to step back once they took over, I'd already waded too deep. But the moment they loaded her, Sophia clutched my sleeve. Pale and trembling, she whispered, "Please, come with me." I'm scared. Instinctively I scanned for Chase. He hovered in a corner, eyes on his phone, an unmistakable signal that he wouldn't lift a finger. I swallowed the urge to throttle him. Since he refused, it fell to me, and the plea in Sophia's eyes tugged at something despite everything. I squeezed her hand. "It's okay. I'm coming." Tears threatened, but she managed a grateful nod. Together with the crew, I rolled her downstairs and climbed into the ambulance. Just as the doors began to close, Chase hopped in behind me. I shot him 2 glances and snapped, "What are you doing here? You show up and I'm out." The second I said it, I started to climb out of the ambulance, but Chase blocked my way and barked, "No. You're coming to the hospital with me." I was about to argue when the paramedic cut in, "Family, sit down. We're leaving now." I could only glare at Chase, swallow my anger, and slide back onto the bench. The ambulance pulled up to St. Camillus in minutes. They wheeled Sophia straight into the ER. Chase and I parked ourselves outside to wait. I picked the seat farthest from him, head down, scrolling my phone, pretending he didn't exist. Chase kept drifting over, trying to talk. Whatever he said, I stayed mute. Finally he gave up, slumped to the opposite wall, and played with his own screen. A little over half an hour later a doctor finally emerged. I flicked my eyes at Chase, then stepped up to the doctor. "Doctor, is she pregnant? Are the mother and baby okay?" The doctor adjusted his glasses, voice stern, "So you knew she's pregnant. Then you should have protected her. She's still in the first trimester, a hard impact could trigger miscarriage. Lucky you got her here fast. Next time be more careful, understood?" I nodded repeatedly, memorized the instructions, then took the billing slip and headed to pay. I turned and caught Chase sneaking a look at me, dying to know but afraid to ask. I walked straight over and slapped the bill into his hand. "Here. Pay it." Chase exploded on the spot. "Why me? This started because of you. You pay." "What's it got to do with me?" Disgust washed over me. "She says the baby is yours. If you won't pay, fine, I will. Just Venmo me." He spat back, "No way. I'm not bankrolling you too. Pay if you want, I'm broke." His attitude revolted me so much my fists clenched, remembering we were in a hospital kept me from swinging. After 2 deep breaths I stomped off and settled the bill myself. Receipt in hand, I peeked into the private ward where Sophia had been moved. Once I saw she was stable I left. Outside the main doors I realized she had nothing, no toiletries, no snacks, and Chase was useless. So, well past midnight, I hunted down a 24-hour bodega, loaded up on food and anything else she might need, and carried the bags back to her bedside. Looking at her chalk-white face, I sighed, then walked out feeling like knotted twine. With 0 chance of sleep, I packed everything I owned. At dawn I called Mom and asked her to bring the cousins and a truck. Mom arrived with 3 cousins. One trip cleared every suitcase and box out of the bridal suite and back to my parents' house. Standing in my childhood bedroom, I finally exhaled. After a hot meal I texted Chase, "Meet me at City Hall this afternoon, divorce." He didn't reply. Calls rang to voicemail. Furious, I rolled up my sleeves to hunt him down, then a cousin DM'd me a video. I tapped play, Sophia, in a hospital gown, face bloodless, weeping to the camera. She posted 3 clips, the gist, childhood sweethearts, she and Chase, true love, now she's pregnant, I swooped in like a vulture, stole him while she's carrying his baby. The fetus is showing preterm risk, she needs him. Please, let Chase come back to her. Today's netizens adore sleazy morality plays, so the clips blew up overnight. Her betrayal didn't even make my pulse skip. A man like Chase breeds matching poison, of course Sophia grew up the same. What puzzled me, won't her husband see this? Long-distance marriage or not, the internet is a small town, it's only a matter of time. Before I could guess why, Chase called back. First words out of his mouth, smug as hell, "Saw the videos? I haven't doxed you yet. Transfer 50 grand hush money and promise not to divorce, and Sophia will delete them. Otherwise, well, enjoy the online mob attack." 50 grand, exactly the amount my parents had given me. I refused on the spot. What you two are doing is criminal defamation. Add blackmail and it's felony territory. Pay you? Dream on. He snorted, barked, "Just wait," and hung up. Strong words aside, I could already see doxing threads popping up, random strangers were flooding my profile. To shield Mom, I booked my parents on a long cruise and hustled them out of town. Once they sailed, I remembered a cousin whose in-laws come from the same town as Sophia's. I rang her, dig, find them, make sure they see the circus. The bigger the mess, the better. She agreed instantly. While I waited, Chase kept calling, demanding the cash. I blocked every number. Sophia uploaded fresh clips, riding the earlier hype, they detonated again. Watching her newest post, something felt off. Her face looked paler than in yesterday's clip, and a bed rest order rarely keeps you hospitalized a whole week, yet here she was, still in a ward. The more I replayed it, the faker that pallor looked. My gut tightened. I tried to ignore it, but conscience won. Mask on, baseball cap tugged low, I slipped into St. Camillus after dusk. To my surprise, Chase had upgraded her to a single room. I paced the corridor, pretending to text while scoping the door. Chase was nowhere. Inside, Sophia sat propped against white pillows, sipping water, nibbling a dry cracker. Pregnant, and that's dinner? I frowned, waited until sure he wasn't coming, then slipped in and set the fruit bag on her nightstand. Startled, she shrank back, then recognized me and clutched my sleeve, babbling, "I knew you'd come, you'd sense something was wrong. I've been waiting, thank God you're here." By now I could see something was off, so I cut straight to the chase. "What happened between you and that scumbag Chase?" Sophia gnashed her teeth and snarled, "Chase, that bastard, should rot in the deepest circle of hell forever. After you left that day he flipped out. He forced me to post a video smearing you. He said your 500 grand was rightfully his, and the condo you bought before the wedding should be his too. He wanted to use me to destroy your reputation and drive you out with nothing, so he could keep the money and the apartment. I refused, of course. I knew you were the one who brought me to the hospital, you saved me and my baby, I'm grateful down to my soul. When that piece of trash saw I wouldn't play along, he hit me, snatched my phone and wallet, and told the nurses I was confused from pregnancy paranoia. The staff stayed away, they heard me screaming for help and pretended nothing was happening. I was so scared. If you hadn't come I don't know what I'd have done. I'm trapped here, no one believes me, and every day that jerk makes me film clips. He's so afraid I'll escape he barely feeds me. I swear the baby and I are going to starve if you don't get us out." Watching Sophia sob with snot and tears all over her face, I couldn't find any comforting words. She also told me every stunt she pulled at my wedding had been scripted by Chase so I'd file for divorce and he could walk off with my money. He'd promised her 100,000 when it was over. Greed had fogged her brain and she'd said yes. She never dreamed it would end like this. Sophia begged me to rescue her. I shook my head. I've got something I need you to do, something that'll make the bastard pay. Tears still shining in her eyes, she agreed. I didn't dare stay long. The moment we finished talking, I turned and left. Back home, I rang Chase and came straight to the point. If he agreed to the divorce, I'd hand over the condo and every dime in my account. Suspicious at first, he finally said yes once he sensed how desperate I was to be rid of him. I wired him 10 grand as a deposit, on condition that we file the papers first and transfer the deed afterward. The sight of so much cash went to his head. He signed on the spot. When that was done, I had my lawyer draft a fake quitclaim deed. The minute our divorce was official, I handed it to him. Either he was an idiot or he trusted me too much, because he barely glanced at the pages before strolling off with a grin. The second he disappeared around the corner, I arched a brow and dialed Sophia's husband. My cousin had tracked down Sophia's in-laws and slipped me his number. I told him Sophia was hospitalized, gave him the exact private ward room, and left the rest to her. That night a text from Sophia popped up. Her husband had pounded Chase black and blue and threatened him for 60 grand in compensation. Terrified, Chase had signed an IOU on the spot. But under my arrangement, her husband wasn't satisfied. He forced Chase to pull $30,000 out of a predatory loan app right then, shot a video of Chase calling it a voluntary gift that could never be clawed back, and walked off with the cash. Chase had no choice but to comply. I clapped a hand over my mouth, laughing as I read her messages. The taste of revenge was sweet. 30 grand was enough to cripple him. His monthly salary was only $3,000. Imagining the collectors on his tail put me in the best mood. Just then a friend called to meet for drinks. I accepted without hesitation. When I finally stumbled back to the gated complex, it was past midnight and I was half drunk. A woman's sixth sense told me someone was tailing me. I quickened my pace toward home, but as I passed the hedge, a figure sprinted up, looped an arm around my throat from behind, and pressed a blade to my cheek. The icy metal sobered me instantly, and I recognized the voice. "Chase, what do you want?" He hissed into my ear. "Bitch, I know you set me up. If I'm going down, you're coming with me. You think a divorce paper cuts me loose? As long as I don't agree, you're still my wife. I could stab you to death and the cops would call it domestic abuse, no death penalty for me." I pleaded softly while my hand rummaged in my purse. The moment his guard dropped, I jabbed the stun gun into his ribs and dropped him like a sack. I called 911 without a second thought. Whether he'd meant robbery or murder, I would make him pay. Because the officers found the knife on him, Chase was locked up fast. I hired the sharpest lawyer in Riverdale to nail him. The goal was years behind bars. With a fresh felony record and crushing debt, he'll be finished even if he ever gets out. When Sophia heard Chase had been arrested, she texted her thanks. The baby she's carrying isn't even his, she'd only claimed it to spite me. Lucky for her, I never breathed a word to her husband, otherwise she'd never wash herself clean. Guilt over Chase keeps pulling her back to chat, and after a while we've become genuine friends. On the day she gave birth, I stuffed a fat cash-stuffed red envelope for the baby, and she unapologetically asked me to be his godmother. I laughed and accepted. Having one more godson in the world can't hurt. Epilogue, Chase. I married a rich girl, but I never loved her, only her money. To strip her clean, I coaxed my childhood sweetheart into playing the other woman. Once the bride cracked and filed for divorce, the condo and the cash would be mine and I'd be a millionaire. Any woman I wanted after that would be easy pickings. But Sophia got pregnant and the circus rolled into St. Camilla's Hospital. That couldn't happen. House and fortune weren't in my pocket yet, so I stonewalled the whole mess. After Vivian walked out, my head started spinning with fresh plans. I strong-armed Sophia into recording a smear. I'd heard online mob attacks drive victims to suicide. If Vivian jumped, perfect. Instead, Sophia and that witch teamed up and buried me under a mountain of loans, north of 100 grand. I'd planned to mortgage the condo, dump it into stocks, and double my money in weeks. Instead, the market crashed and the sharks of predatory lending circled in. That bitch Vivian ruined me, no way I'd let her live free. Wave a knife at her and the coward would cough up every cent. We were still in the divorce cooling off period. Whatever I did to her would be labeled domestic, no big deal. I underestimated how vicious she could be. Now I'm rotting in a cell, staring at the ceiling every sleepless night, wondering, maybe I really did love Vivian once. If I'd chosen a different road, would I be anywhere but here? Thanks for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? If you liked it, hit like and share it with friends. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next tale. See you next time.